if I told you that massive language models might not need all that fancy pre-training to handle perception tasks like sentiment or toxicity detection? That's right. This new study from researchers at Brown and Google asks a bold question. Is next token prediction, the thing we spend tons of computing money on, actually helping with perception? They pit two approaches head-to-head. Models pre-trained on huge corpora and fine-tuned with LoRA versus models trained entirely from scratch. The twist: even giant models with billions of parameters, when trained on tiny datasets like Rotten Tomatoes reviews, can perform just as well, sometimes better. Turns out, the architecture itself might be doing more heavy lifting than we thought. So, is pre-training always worth it? Or are we just running up our cloud bill for nothing? Let's dive into the details.
We're starting with a question that's at the heart of this research. How effective is the current strategy of pre-training large language models, or LLMs, for perception tasks like sentiment and spam detection? The authors are asking whether the effort and resources poured into pre-training are worth it. They suggest that while companies heavily invest in pre-training to boost performance, the actual benefits for perception tasks might not be as significant as expected. The abstract teases us with an intriguing idea. LLMs that are trained from scratch, meaning they start with no prior learning, can sometimes match or even surpass those that have undergone fine-tuning after pre-training. This challenges the established belief that pre-training is essential for achieving top-notch performance. Could this reshape how we approach LLM training, especially when data is limited? In the introduction, we get a bit of history. LLMs are deep neural networks that have transformed the field by eliminating the need for manual feature engineering. A typical process involves pre-training a model on a large dataset and then fine-tuning it for specific tasks. But the authors propose that learning through reconstruction might be more effective for perception tasks. The big question they pose is whether pre-training is necessary for good LLM performance on perception tasks. This sets the stage for exploring whether the traditional approach is the best one or if there's a more efficient path forward, especially given these models' ability to perform well on unseen data with minimal adaptation. Next, we delve into the benefits of pre-training LLMs, particularly for perception tasks. The authors have set up an empirical study to understand LLM performance across various scenarios involving training, pre-training, and fine-tuning. They're checking out 4 different LLM architectures and a range of perception tasks to ensure their findings have broad applicability. The key takeaway here? Pre-training isn't as beneficial for what they term rich perception tasks. Even with significant differences in training samples and model parameters, starting from scratch with random weights can match or even exceed the performance of pre-trained models. Interestingly, the tokenizer's training data doesn't significantly impact the outcome. This challenges the assumption that a tokenizer trained on a large corpus is necessary. In simpler terms, even massive models with billions of parameters can learn effectively from small datasets if initialized properly. This hints at a potential shift in how we approach model training for perception tasks. The authors hope their findings guide decisions on when next token prediction is truly necessary. Now let's touch on their motivations and experimental setup. They emphasize the lack of thorough empirical and theoretical evaluations of pre-training with LLMs. Despite the popularity of transformers and their transfer performance, many fundamental questions remain, especially about the necessity of pre-training. To explore this, they examine a diverse range of datasets and models, focusing on sentiment classification tasks using datasets like IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes. They're comparing the benefits of different training approaches. Moving on, this part of the paper presents a detailed comparison of how various LLMs perform on perception tasks. The focus here is on evaluating whether pre-training offers significant benefits over starting from scratch. Look at Table XXX. It shows test scores for different LLM backbones across 12 datasets. These backbones are assessed in 2 scenarios, using LoRA fine-tuning on pre-trained models and retraining from random initialization. What's striking? The performance differences between these 2 approaches are minimal. This suggests that the heavy computational cost of pre-training might not be justified for certain perception tasks. The table includes various models like QN and Arctic, and datasets from IMDb to Yelp reviews. Despite the traditional emphasis on pre-training, models trained from random weights can achieve comparable, if not superior, results. The page also describes some of the architectures used, such as Phi2 and OpenELM, known for their efficiency and state-of-the-art performance. This leads us into the next section, where they'll dive into a large-scale study examining these findings further. The authors plan to test models with low RA fine-tuning and full retraining, highlighting the need to reevaluate pre-training's role in LLM development, especially for perception tasks. Let's take a closer look at how dataset richness impacts language model performance. Check out Figure 1. It shows how the total number of tokens in a dataset relates to performance differences between low RA fine-tuning and full retraining. Interestingly, the richness of the dataset, as measured by token count, accounts for over a third of the observed accuracy gap. This suggests that richer datasets might narrow the performance differences between the two training approaches. Their methodology involves using a linear classifier for classification tasks, drawing on both the final layer output and attention across all tokens. They note that adding a classification token during pre-training didn't seem necessary, simplifying the setups. The results are pretty intriguing. Models trained from scratch, even those with billions of parameters, perform competitively on small datasets without overfitting. This challenges the assumption that pre-training on a vast corpus is essential for strong model performance. The discussion wraps up by reaffirming the need to reevaluate the efficacy of next token prediction as a universal pre-training strategy. The authors are keen on exploring theoretical justifications for their findings, hoping to shift away from the default reliance on pre-training. Thanks for joining us today. Happy exploring together.